Hello everyone, welcome to this video. So in this video I'm going to show you how to create a basic form and how to style it using CSS. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to type in form just like that. So you open it and you close it just like that. Now we are going to use two attributes. So this is the action. So the action is basically when you click on the submit button, it's going to take you to a page. So for example, right now I'm going to go to google.com, https://www.google.com. Alright, so it will take me to Google. So what this does is that it takes you to the processing page. And right here, I'm going to add one more attribute. It's called the method. So the method that I'm going to be using is going to be the post. So there are two methods. It's up to you if you want to use the get method or the post method. But I'm going to stick with the post method because it's more secure. Then right here, I'm going to use a label tag. So I'm going to say a label. So label. Alright, so this is the label. I'm going to say name, for example. So name : and now if I save it, I'll have that name label there. And then after that label tag, I'm going to use the input type. So $, input. So input. Alright, so input type. And these are all of the types. So I'm going to say text. So I want it to be text. Alright, so it's going to be a text input field. And then I'm going to use another attribute called max length. So what this attribute does is that it puts a limit on that input field. So I'm going to, for example, type in 20. So it's not going to go more than 20 letters. So I'm going to save it. And right here, for example, if I type in something, as soon as I reach 20 characters, it stopped there and I'm unable to type that in. So that's one attribute, and I think that's useful to use. Then I'm going to use another attribute called required. So required. So what this does is that it tells the browser that this one is required. For example, if I keep it empty and if I click on submit, let's say that we have a submit button which we'll create, it will stop the process and it will tell us that this input field is required. So right below it, I'm going to create a button. So I'm going to say input. So input, so input type submit. Alright, so this one is the submit button. So submit, and then I'm going to use another attribute called the value. So what this does is that it just changes the text of the button. So I'm going to say send email. Alright. So I'm going to close it, just like that, and I'm going to save it. You'll notice that we have a button there. And now, some teachers might tell you, hey, you need to add a reset button. So what you do is that you use the input again, so input, then type is going to be reset. Then the value is going to be reset. Or you can type in whatever you want. So I'm going to say reset form. Alright, it's reset form. Just like that. I'm going to close it and save it. So now you'll notice that we have a reset form there. So if I just type in something, if I click on that button, it's going to reset it. Now we will continue this. So we will add another input field here. So I'm going to basically copy this label and this input field, and I'm going to place it right below it. So this one, I'm going to change it to email. Alright, so we have the email there, and now I'm going to change the type to email. Alright, so now this one is the email input field. So before we continue adding the input fields, what I want to do is that I want to style my form. I just want to make it look good. So inside of the head, I'm going to add some style here. So style. Alright, so style. And By the way, you can type in the inline style to style your form, or external style. You can do that also, but I'm going to keep it simple and I'm going to type my style here. So I'm going to say label. Alright, so label, and I'm going to open two braces. So now what I'm going to say, display block, and save it. So as I did that, form will be displayed vertically. So now we will do the same with the buttons. So I'm going to say input, then type equals to submit, for example. Submit. So I just selected the submit button, and I'm going to say display block. Save it. So now, as you notice right here, it has put our form in this kind of display. So there are a couple of things that you can center this. For example, I can say margin. So margin dash right, auto, and margin dash left, colon, auto. Alright, and then we are going to give it the width. So width, let's go 100 pixels. 100 pixels. And now if I save it, you'll notice that they are centered. So my labels are centered. However, my input fields are still aligned to the left. So we will need to basically select those input fields. So we can say input, alright, then open two curly braces, just like the other one. Then type in type equals to, so I'm going to say, so the type is text. So now we have selected one input field, which is this one. And then I'm going to put a comma here. And then I'm going to type in input, open two brackets, type, then equals to email. So we have selected those two input fields. And I'm going to open two curly braces. Then I'm going to copy this style. So I'm going to copy the style of the label, and I'm going to paste it here. So now if I save this one, you'll notice that my input fields are centered. So now we will need to center the buttons also. So to do that, we are going to the buttons. So this one, as you notice right here, these are the buttons. So we are going to basically copy the style, and I'm going to paste it here. Save it. You'll notice that it has only centered this button, but this one, the reset form, has not been centered. Well, we can add a comma here, and we can say input, type, so input, just like that, then open two brackets, type, equals to reset. So now, if we save this, you'll notice that our reset button has been centered. So what's going on here? Well, right now, you will notice that we have selected this button, which is the submit button, and then we put a comma there, and then we have selected the reset button too. And now let's add a text area here. So we can say lesson sign text area, and you basically close it. Alright, so this is your basic text area. So what I want to do now is that I want to move this text box above the send email. So to do that, I'm going to basically cut this text area tag, and I'm going to place it here. So I have my text area here, and if I save it, you'll notice that it will be above these buttons. But now we will need to center that. What we can do is that basically we can type in text area and open two curly braces. We can basically set the display to block, and we can simply, set the margin left and margin right to auto, and we can add some width there and save it. So now you will notice that we have our text area here, but I'm going to add a label here. So I'm going to just add a label here, and I'm going to say message. Alright, so now if I save it, you'll notice that we have message there. So now let's add a radio button. So we can say label. So again, don't forget the labels. So make sure you add the labels everywhere. So I'm going to say label. Then I'm going to say choose. So choose your favorite. So favorite browser. Alright. So as soon as it says choose your favorite browser, but I want this to be underneath the text, so I'm gonna cut this label and I'm going to just place it below the label tag. So save it, and now it says choose your favorite browser. What I'm gonna do is that I'm going to use the input type. So input, then the type is going to be radio. Alright, then we are going to add the name. So this will be Google Chrome. So ID, I'm going to keep it the same, Chrome. Alright, and I'm going to make sure it's required, and I'm going to type in Google Chrome. So now we have a radio button there, and now I'm going to copy this one and I'm going to place it right below it. So we will change the second option to a different browser. So this one will be Firefox, for example. Firefox, and I'm going to change the text to Firefox. So now we can select both of them. So you know why? Because they have to share the same name. For example, the name is Chrome. I'm going to change this one to Chrome 2. So now if I refresh it, so now I will either change Firefox or Google Chrome. So what's going on here? Well, the name that you add is the group name. So for example, I can say Fav Browser. So Fav Browser. So the name will be Fav Browser. Alright. So this name and this name are different now. So now they are not grouped. So since they don't have the same name, we will be able to choose two options. But if we match the name, for example, I change this one to Fav Browser, I'm going to type the exact same name here. So now they have the same name, and if we save it and refresh it, so now we will either choose Firefox or Google Chrome. And now it's kind of weird to have the radio buttons to the left of the option, so we will place the label after it. So right here, as soon as it says Google Chrome, so we can type it just before it. Alright, and now this one too, we can just cut it and paste it here. So save it. So now if it's Google Chrome, you choose it. Firefox, you choose it. Alright, so you either choose Google Chrome or Firefox. And this is the basic idea about the input type radio. So now let's talk about checkboxes. Well, right here we will say, for example, choose your favorite food. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say choose your favorite food. So if I save it, I have that one there. So now to go to the next line, you basically use the break, just BR, just like that. So let me zoom in. So you just type in BR, just like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it. So now this is the Google Chrome option or the Firefox option. And right below it, we have the choose your favorite food. Alright, so we are asking people about their favorite food. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to style the radios that we have. So to do that, you simply type in, so input, just like the other one, alright, open two brackets, then type equals to text, just like that, then open two braces, and now I can copy this style and paste it here. So save it. Nothing will happen because the type is text, so we will change this one to radio. So save it, Now you'll notice that our radio buttons are in the middle, but our labels are to the left. Well, to align them, we will have to basically wrap these things into labels. So I can say label, for example, so label, and I'm going to put Google Chrome inside of this label. Then I'm going to put this Firefox also in a label. So a label. I'm going to close the label, just like that, save it. So now we have our radio buttons in the middle. So now we will need to use something called the field set and the legend to organize our form. So for example, the name, the email, and the message should be in a specific field. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use that tag. So I'm going to say field set. Alright, so field set, and I'm going to cut the end of the field set, and I'm going to end my field set here. You'll notice that it will have a border around it. So now inside of the field set, we are going to use something called a legend. So we are going to type in personal info, and we are going to save it. And as I do that, you'll notice that it has added a legend there. So this is one part of our form. Then where it says choose your favorite browser, that will be another field set. I'm going to add another field set here. Alright, and I'm going to end it right here. And inside of it, we are going to add the legend. Favorite, I'm going to type in favorite browser. So favorite browser. Save it. You'll notice that we have another section of our form. Then where it says choose your favorite food, I'm going to take that text out of that field set. Alright, so it will be different, and I'm going to add another field set here for that one. So field set, and I'm going to wrap it up. Alright, and I'm going to add a legend there that says favorite foods. So your favorite food. So save it. Now we have that section here. So now we are going to use another type of input fields, which is the checkboxes. So we can say label, for example, chicken. Alright, so chicken. So we are going to add input type, then this one will be a checkbox, and we are going to close it, and we are going to say, for example, chicken. So save it and refresh it. You'll notice that we have two labels there, so I'm going to actually move this one here, so I don't want this choose your food there. And there is a chicken in the label, and there is a chicken after it, so I'm going to delete that chicken, and I'm going to copy this one and paste it a couple of more times. So we have the chicken, we have the soup, we have, let's see what else, kebab and falafel. So label is, so this is not how we type in label. So label goes like that. So label, label, label. Alright, and I'll need to fix this one. So I'm just fixing it now. So label, okay, so save it. So now you'll notice that our labels are centered, but our checkboxes are aligned to the left. So what we are going to do is that we are going to copy this one, and we are going to paste it. So copy the style and paste it, and instead of the radio, we can say checkbox. Save it, and now you'll notice that we have our checkboxes. Alright, for example, choose your food. You can choose all of them, or you can choose one of them. And now right here where it says choose your favorite browser, you can either choose this one or this one. it's unlike the checkbox. So the checkbox is different. And again, you can add the required to basically make it required. Alright, so required, just like that. And now let's say that we want to maybe where it says choose your favorite browser, we don't want that there, so I'm going to delete that one. Choose your favorite browser, so I'm going to delete that one because we have a legend there. Alright, so now we can change the color of the legend. So legend, then to curly braces, and I can say color blue. And if I save it, and now you'll notice that it will change the color of the legend. And now we are going to maybe change the font size. So font dash size 29. And we can do some other stuff. So this is basically it, and we will continue working on this in the next video.